It really was amazing. It was so, so good. And like she said, so the vulnerability first starts over here in the stage, right? And it trickles down to the audience members. So the moment they saw her vulnerability, they were able to say like, oh, okay, I could share my story too. So we got to hear everybody's story out in the audience. And we are gonna actually do a little bit of an exercise where you guys are gonna be able to share with one another. And yeah, I think that's gonna really further us in the networking portion. So you guys aren't just exchanging contacts, or it's not transactional. It's transformational, right? So I wanted to be very intentional in how you guys connect with each other. So, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and thank a few sponsors. Some people were very, very, very gracious to go ahead and sponsor this event. So we do have a sponsor in the house right now, and that's Mr. Reuter. They are a family-owned, full-service plumbing company dedicated to exceptional service and giving back to the community. They offer free estimates, 24/7 scheduling, and flexible payment plans. So thank you, Mr. Reuter. A hand for them. We have Life Ambulance providing service to the El Paso community for 43 years. So a little hand to them. We got Emmy Funding. We did have a guest come from that company yesterday. They believe that home ownership is more than buying a house. It's about creating opportunities, building generational wealth, empowering individuals and families to invest in their future. Through personalized mortgage solutions and a people's first approach, they're honored to help the community achieve one life milestone at a time. And Fit by Faith. Thank you, Fit by Faith, my beautiful husband. So he is the #1 trainer in El Paso. He's been doing it for 13 years. He's about to open a gym in the West Side, so y'all go and support. Woo! Yeah. So hurry up. Yeah. And thank you to you guys, because you guys are a big part of it too. So I do hope you enjoy. And without further ado, let's get started. So, for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my little notes here. So, now at this point, I think I am going to have to close it. You can come in. It's okay, come on in. Welcome. Okay.
Perfect timing. Just has to start.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you that do not know me, my name is Madeline Harris, and I'm the owner of MH, and I basically help women around the country build a brand. So beyond that, we get to do these type of events, and it's really wonderful because we get to connect genuinely, and I don't just want to help people's businesses. I actually want to help their lives. I want to help impact them and change them. And so whatever I can do in my power to do that, that's kind of my life's purpose, to speak life not just into their business, but into them, right? So that's a little bit about me. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we're going to cover today for my portion. So I am going to share a little bit of my personal story as a background. And then we're going to dive into some practical steps that we can take together in our businesses to actually build a personal brand. If you've never done that before, whether you own a business or not, it is pretty crucial to have an understanding as to why we're here and what do we have to offer, right? What value do we have to offer? How do you position yourself, not just in the market, but in your workplace? How can you attract better opportunities, right, and clients? So we're going to cover things like that. But first, if you do not mind, I'm going to go ahead and share my personal story. And it's all going to come together, okay? You're going to say, what does your story have to do with personal branding? Like, how does that all come together? I promise it will come together at the very end. So just bear with me. Okay, so this is actually the first time I share my personal story in public ever. Hi, sweetie cakes. Hi, sweetie cakes. A round of applause for Cherise. That was our speaker yesterday, by the way. Did she do amazing, y'all? Yes. Yes. Okay, beautiful. I'm literally about to get started, so yeah. Okay, so I gave them an overview, who I am, what we're gonna discuss today. I'm gonna share my personal story first, and then we're gonna dive into some practical steps for business. So, oh my goodness, this is the first time I share my story publicly, and so I can't top yours, Miss Cherise, but we're gonna go ahead and dive in. So, I was conceived out of wedlock, so that's where my story started. My parents were really young, and the day I was born, my grandma proclaimed something over my life, and it was in the form of a prayer, but she didn't know the power of words at that time and what she was declaring over me. And those things came to pass. And welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Those things came to pass, and even prophets have touched on the very things that she declared. And so whether you're of faith or not, basically a prophet speaks into your life, and I believe it to be true because it's things that I've already heard either from God or from things in my life, right? So whatever she was proclaiming that day at my very birth has transpired. So I wanted to highlight that point because the power of words is something to not take lightly, right? And so as for my calling in my life, I do have a speaking anointing, and that's not me saying it, that's coming from God. And yeah, part of my story is that I think I could have been silenced by my family. My mom's side, I basically grew up with just women. And my dad was in my life 50-50. And his household was full of witchcraft, control, verbal abuse, not from him, but from his family, right? And I do believe that he probably almost could have become a mute just by the amount of oppression in that environment. And so he wasn't a man of many words. I knew that he loved me, but he didn't love me well. And so that did impact my life a lot. And so if I were to simply say something to him, sometimes he wouldn't even look at me at all. He wouldn't reply. So growing up, I did often think that I was just invisible. And so that was definitely something that created, unfortunately, a bad basis for how I saw my own worth. And so I'm going to talk about a few miracles also that I've experienced. We're going to go down the timeline of my life briefly. But I did get to experience 2 miracles as an infant. So we moved from how I was conceived, from what happened at my very birth. And now the attacks come, some craziness comes. but so do miracles, right? So as an infant, I was in a really bad car accident. I flew from my car seat to the windshield. The windshield broke, and the glass fell on my tongue. And I laid there still on the dashboard, and for some reason, I didn't swallow. A baby flew from the car seat to the windshield, and there's glass on my tongue, and I didn't move. How can an infant at that moment not cry, not move, and there's glass on the tongue? You know, that was my first miracle. One night, miracle number 2, my mom wakes up all of a sudden, and she has this notion to check on me randomly. And as she flickers on the lights, I'm still an infant, I was in my crib, she sees that 2 hands from the window retract. And so who it was, we don't know. What their intentions were, I don't know. But I do believe that obviously it wasn't a good intention, right? So at the very moment she flickered on the lights, that person retracted. So that was my miracle number 2. Miracle number 3 is that I actually almost went to juvenile detention, which is crazy to say. It's so crazy to say. But get this though. Remember what I said in the beginning, which really paints a picture. What was proclaimed over my life? So if you have children, or you, even to yourself, you're speaking something, whether you're of faith or not, your words have power. And we internalize it all the time, right? Even the way we speak to ourselves, we internalize that, right? The way other people speak to us, it shapes us, right? So, juvenile detention, what? Even I'm like, oh yeah. I've always been a really good student. School was just like really easy for me. And I've always been a pretty good girl. But environment has so much to do with everything, right? I had a really bad circle of friends. And my entire school career, I was a good girl. And then just one day, just because of bad influence, I thought a prank was funny, and it wasn't funny at all. But I never found drugs or alcohol appealing. My parents were never drinkers or anything of that sort, but they did have a collection of liquor. And I poured clear liquor into a water bottle, and I took it to school. And I do believe that the consequences could have been extremely grave. And somehow they had grace on me, and they didn't send me to juvenile detention. But I almost did. So now I got straight credits. I got a tattoo on my booty to show it. Just kidding.
Water bottle?
Of a water bottle. Okay? So we're painting this picture, right? We went from, I know I keep reiterating, but just so we could get clear on the message here. We went from conception to birth to being an infant to growing up. How did I grow up? Dad was there 50-50. Still that household, I still have dreams where that household is still going through stuff. And I'm not a part of that family right now as of that moment. As of this moment, excuse me. So for 29 years, my dad was in my life, in and out. And one day, it just kind of clicked. I believe I had permission from God to let that weight go. He was never a weight that I should have carried. And one day I just disappeared from his life. He never came to find me. He called my mom one day, never to ask if I was okay, never to ask if he did something wrong. only to ask why I didn't answer his phone calls. And so that was really confirmation that, again, yes, I knew he loved me, but he didn't love me well. Do I forgive him? Yes. Do I love him? Yes. I wish him the very, very best. But to know that you don't matter that much to someone to a certain degree. I know as I was growing up, he didn't even know how to spell my name correctly. It's like, what? How do you not know how to spell your child's name? He didn't know what I studied. He didn't know what I did for a living. How do you not know that? You know, it's just beyond me. It's a matter of not details. It's a matter of having a certain level of interest or care, you know? And perhaps that wasn't in him because of his traumas. And I understand that, I do. But to a certain degree, we're responsible to, number one, have choice and understand that with choice comes freedom to choose to write a different story, right? Perhaps you have your own story, but write a different story for yourself, for the people that you love, right? So that was my upbringing. And so with that, he never really said, I love you, or he never really told me, you tell your little girls that they're pretty. I never heard that I was pretty from him. So that was another thing that impacted my life. My two grandmas really brainwashed me when it came to they didn't mean to, but they placed a lot of importance to beauty. And I thought it was transactional. I thought with beauty that you can gain love, that you can gain things in life. And that was a really odd dichotomy where you can't hear it from the person that you need it from the most, your dad. But yet, you have this programming in your mind that you're gonna earn things in life with your appearance, So a lot of things I viewed subjectively versus objectively. And so they would whisper things into my ear or things that weren't very nice. And I had to reprogram my mind that it wasn't true. These things that they would whisper to me. For example, my grandma, my dad's mom, she would say things like, you're the prettiest in the family, you're skinny, you're light-skinned, so therefore, you're my favorite. So she was very specific as to why I gained favor. And so that does something to a child, right? It's kind of like, wait, what? Where is this coming from? And why is there so much importance on how I look rather than who I am? So it kind of messes you up as to where if you don't have a foundation, for example, in faith, you just believe that, you're gonna earn love or things based on how you look. And so I'm reiterating a little bit more as to why I guess I was the way I was while growing up. So I felt invisible, unworthy, specifically for love. I thought I was never gonna have somebody love me, literally. So before I got married, that was just my mentality. I don't think I'm ever gonna be loved. It impacts me because now I can see how even a kind gesture can even save a life, And I never had suicidal ideations or anything of that sort. But the way you carry out your life, all these little seeds, the good seeds and the bad seeds, they do something to you, you know? And all my life, it was performance-based. My worth was, everything was external. I had to earn it. I had to earn respect. I had to earn. So I was on survival mode before I got married. Survival mode, survival mode. It wasn't that it was always about me. It was that Dad never took care of me, so. My mom has been so faithful to me. Thank you. Before my husband, she's all I had, really. I know that you have family members that love you. I know that. But there's no love like your mom if she was there for you, you know? And that was my only pillar before I got married. So now my husband, when we did get married, he saved parts of me. He showed me that I was worthy. And I know most of you have gone through worse. And maybe you've gone through something similar. But, you know, I have a child. She's right there. She's 4 years old. She's beautiful. And I still look back at that little girl that I was, feeling unloved. I didn't get a job well done. Maybe that's what I was chasing all along, just a job well done. Yes, my mom loved me. But those small affirmations really do something, you know? And she did the best she could. I think she did a phenomenal job because she's very strong and smart and beautiful. And yeah, both of my parents weren't really affectionate either. I mean, she loves me, but we're not very touchy-feely people. So maybe that kind of set up a basis for who I am today as well. We're a lot warmer now, but I was very cold at one point, which is unfortunate. So there were times that I was bitter. And it all stemmed back to, I just needed to be loved properly. That's all I needed. There was that void. So now I guess to kind of the good parts. So again, I'm just kind of painting a picture for you guys, and I promise it'll all come full circle. So I did give my life to Christ at 19. Obviously that impacted my life very much for the good. And it was just randomly, nobody prompted me. It wasn't a church that prompted me. It was just in my heart. From one day to the next, just cold turkey, I just turned into a different person. And it was a wonderful decision, but I did backslide a bit from then. And I recommitted my life to Christ at 24. I promise I'm closing up the story portion of it. But before then, I will touch a little bit on going to college. Again, good student, good girl. I graduated college with no job lined up. I was malnourished. I was heartbroken. I had a breakup. I didn't care to really graduate. Like, I was a good student, and I didn't care to even go to my own graduation. I only went for my mom. And I remember vividly saying out loud, I'll celebrate when I get my master's. And it was like that type of mentality where it was like, I was very ambitious. I was very hungry for more. But it's also like, why wasn't that enough? You know? So, sorry, I'm just taking it all in. So again, let's get to the good part. So I got a really good job after that. Everything went south. Graduating with pretty much nothing lined up, no plan, nothing. I studied in Austin, came back home, and I got to consult at age 22 people that wanted to open businesses through actually like a government program. And so it was like, okay, there's a lot of promise here. I knew that I'm like, there's something here, you know? God really blessed me with, I guess like I'm an audacious dreamer. It was like daydreaming was always my escape. So I did get my master's, and I recommitted my life around that time. And women always love love stories, so let me give you my love story with my husband. Mayela's been like asking me, so here it is, Mayela. Yes. So again, the power of words, right? That's one of the themes that I'm touching on a lot today. So right before my 24th birthday, I never knew that you can like give what Christians call a seed, right, to the church with a certain intention, something that you want, that you desire. And that was love for me because I really needed to be loved. I really, really needed to be loved. And I sowed a seed for that. I didn't even know what that was, but I had faith for it. I was at a church where the pastor said, okay, we're about to approach the New Year's. Go ahead and sow your seed, have an intention. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I want love. So, okay, I want love. Here you go. So I sowed my seed. And then that was kind of around the Valentine's era, Valentine's Day, during that time frame. And I go take a solo trip by myself, and it was wonderful. And on Valentine's Day, again, the power of words, I declared something that day. I said, by this time next year, I'm going to be married. And that happened. So I married my little chocolate cake back there. My little chocolate cake back there. And I married him, right? And so ever since, I could say, God has just been so gracious to me and rewritten my story when it comes to I'm not invisible and I am worthy to be loved. And what I do does matter, you know? And love really changes you. And it's not a romantic love. It's a real sacrificial love. It's God-given. And so I got married. We had that gorgeous baby right there. I'm moving down the timeline. I promise I'm closing. I did get to work with celebrities at age 27. That's kind of cool. And so again, I was really hungry, like in life, and I just wanted to, there was always these levels that God has given me the favor to keep, you know, pursuing. And at age 29, that's kind of when I really had to make decisions to set a foundation for what I wanted my life to be moving forward, to rewrite my story. And this was interesting. I did experience a form of persecution in a workplace, and I'm not exaggerating. I was literally the only Christian there, and they made it known. very overtly. They mocked me to my face. They would give gifts only to amongst themselves and not a gift for me during Christmas. It was very real. But beyond that, it wasn't just physically real. I mean, spiritually, the air was so thick that my boss walked in one day and said, "Oh my gosh," he's like, "the air is thick." He's like, "Something's wrong in here. Something's wrong. Y'all better fix it. Like, something's wrong in here." And how do you verbalize to people that aren't, of faith or spiritual, that there was a pressure around me, a heavy, heavy pressure. Heavy, day in, day out, heavy pressure. People mocking me to my face, things like that. But it was also to the point where the janitorial staff said they were the first ones to open the building for that workplace. And they said that they heard chains banging on the wall. And when they would go check, there was nobody back there. So why would they make stuff up like that? So something terrible was in that place. It would try to close in on me. But I kept speaking in faith. And my very own enemies, they would take away, I was the only woman, by the way, in that workplace too. They took away a chair. We were having a meeting, and a man took my chair. A grown man took my chair. They didn't let the woman sit. Just crazy things, like they would smoke in front of me, be vulgar, disgusting things in front of me. They didn't care. And so I think that really showed me that's maybe not an extreme form of persecution, but nevertheless, it is a form of persecution because I was the only Christian there. And was I just gonna quit and succumb? I stayed there till literally I physically couldn't anymore. I couldn't anymore. And I asked the Lord. I remember I was like a supervisor, and somebody made a comment about my body, one of the men, and I pressed up against the wall. I had an iPad literally like this. I pressed up against the wall, and I was like, "Lord, if they ask me to come in tomorrow, would I be able to? Would I actually be able to?" And I said, I just can't anymore. And that's when I decided to literally just pick up and leave. And I do believe that they got what they gave me, right? Like, you reap what you sow. That entire team picked up and left the company. The entire team, they were in turmoil. They had a revolving door. Nobody stayed in that place, nobody. So that gave me comfort that I wasn't crazy, that there was something inherently wrong with that place. So age 29, and that's when I had mentioned to you guys that I basically just disappeared from my dad's life. I felt peace with that, and again, he never came to look for me, and that's that. And ever since, I feel like leaving that weight, it's been good for me. Now I'm at age 30, and I'm still able to, make this business work. Even this conference has been a testimony to, like I shared yesterday, where this conference, what this represents is that a month ago, God really sat me down and said, "You either make this work or it's not happening." So I was like, okay. So this has been in my heart for some years now, this conference. And I want it to not be about me. I want it to impact you all truly from the bottom of my heart. And what happened yesterday was exactly that. Women were crying. Women were finding a freedom. We were loving on each other, because it's more than just what we do here, what we have to When you try to help somebody's business, you help them only like at a surface level. But how are you impacting their lives? How are they going to leave your office changed? I always say that when somebody's in my presence, they should never leave empty-handed, meaning I should always impart in them. I should always give, whether that's physically, monetarily, or spiritually. Always pour something into someone. And we never know about each other's stories until we tell our stories. And so with that being said, I can't ask you to do something unless I was willing to do it myself. Now we're coming full circle. I'm sharing my story today publicly for the first time, so that I can ask you to have the courage to do so with each other right now. So we're gonna get into that exercise. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine. Then you can maybe listen to another person's story. But stories are powerful. They're going to connect us. They connect us, and they, like I said in the beginning, right now in the introduction, it makes networking not so transactional. Get into the habit of sharing your story, because it's not just going to help connection at a human level, but because I'm an expert in personal branding, I'm telling you right now, that's also going to be really good for you in business, to get into the habit of sharing your personal story. That's part of your personal branding. And you're like, well, I don't even own a business. Why should I care about that? Or I'm doing pretty good in my business. That's fine. I'm just telling you, given the experience that I've had, even with celebrities, I was handling their personal brands. It matters who you are. It matters what you do, what value you provide, and how you're communicating that, how you're presenting yourself, right? I always give this analogy. If you serve slop to someone, do you think they're going to eat it? Versus when you go to a fine dining restaurant and they plate it beautifully, there's a garnish, they even have the white cloth for you, they treat you like royalty. That's the same thing with branding, that you have to present yourself a certain way. Even in interviews, they tell you to actually dress nice, right? You can't just come in, you have to communicate a certain way. You're putting your best self forward. And so that's the practical aspect that I'm leaving you guys with today, is I shared my personal story so that I can ask you to do the same. I can't ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do, right? We're gonna get into that exercise. And the way that you get to connect that to your business is that, okay, I already completed one of the steps to get my personal brand started. So to finish up here, I just have, if you're taking notes or if you just want to take a mental note, I do have some 5 steps that you can do to help your self-presentation, to help your communication, to help your impact in the workplace, in your business, or even amongst others, right? So 5 steps. The title of my talk today was The Time Is Now, and that was specific. Why? Because I implore you to, number 1, this is step number 1, know who you are and what value you provide, okay? I want you to know that you have inherent value, right? It's not performance-based, it's not based on what you can do, but who you are. So that's number 1, who you are and what value you provide. Okay? And when I say what value you provide, now we're going to get into number 2 so you can understand what I mean by that. Number 2 is master one thing. What is one thing that only you can do? What is one thing that you do best, that comes naturally? How about this? What is one thing that nobody can do like you, right? Number 3, share your story. I told you it was coming full circle. Okay? So, share your story, ladies. Okay? It matters. It really, really matters. You know, vulnerability, like I said in the beginning, it breeds vulnerability. You just gave somebody permission to, number one, be themselves, and number two, share, right? So that was number 3, share your story. Number 4, the time is now to be seen. If you've never given yourself permission to be seen, give yourself permission today. You're here for a reason, okay? And you being hidden or hiding your talents or what value you provide serves nobody, right? It doesn't even serve you. I do believe that if we don't do what we came on this earth to do, a part of us dies inside. At least that's what it's felt like to me. When I'm not operating in what God put me on this earth to do, I feel like I'm dying on the inside, honestly. It's like, I don't know if you guys have heard this saying where you put an eagle in the presence of chickens. I mean, you can automatically tell who's the eagle and who's a chicken, you know? And I just feel like that's what it feels like when you don't truly put into fruition, right, what you came on this earth to do. So that was number 4, give yourself permission to be seen. Number 5, it's time to launch. So what do I mean by that? By putting all these 5 steps together, okay, you're now able to kind of have a basis for how to even launch a personal brand. Now you know who you are. Now you know what value you provide. Now you know how to master that one thing. Did you isolate that one thing that only you can do and that you do best? Number 3, you shared your story. You know, when you go to a branding agency, sometimes they either create for you a brand story or they ask you to have a brand story. Why? Because I'm more inclined as a consumer to purchase something that I feel connected to. So branding is very psychological, right? So that's why I tell you to share your story. Because if you start treating yourself as a brand, now you're marketable. Now you could sell yourself to a higher position at your job. Now you can pitch, right? Hi, girly. Welcome. Good. Where are we? Are we to be seen? Did I expand on that?
It's time to launch.
Oh, it's time to launch. My bad. Time to launch. So if you, just to kind of, conclude all these 5 steps. So your personal brand is kind of like a reputation, right? But I'm going to distinguish those 2 things and how you can aid your reputation. So a reputation, you don't have control over that. I can't tell you what to think about me. However, with personal branding, I get to prime what others think of me. I get to send these cues. I divide them into 3 things. There's 3 different cues that we can give in personal branding. We have nonverbal cues, verbal cues. I need to look back at my notes. Gosh, did I forget the 3rd one? Verbal, nonverbal, grace. Sorry, I'm gonna have to get back to you with the 3rd one. I literally have a course on this. So I promise it's not that I'm blanking out right now because, yeah, I have a lot of material going on here. I'm gonna have to come back to you with the 3rd one. Verbal and not, anyway, to paint the picture, we're priming people on how they should perceive us, basically, right? So that's why I find it so important today to kind of connect all this back into business if you are in business or if you're trying to elevate in your career. Get into the habit of putting these 5 steps together. And hopefully you're able to now start attracting better opportunities, better clients, because now you have an understanding that you're able to aid what your reputation will be like. So hopefully that was helpful. And I think that's all I have for you. Do you guys have any questions? Comment?
Just thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. It isn't until we share our story that we realize that there's, like you were saying, yes, what happened yesterday, other people going through the same thing. And until you open your mouth to share your story, you feel like you're the only one who has gone through it. But when you find that you're not, it's in some way comforting and encouraging. Thank you for sharing that. I know that's very personal and private, and you don't open up about this to everyone, because in some ways it probably still carries weight. It's a redeeming story. So it's a story of success and victory, really. It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I want you to, how good God is, explain how it happened with Maurice when you met him. You said, he seems like he's some top guy, and I don't want to talk to him. And then later on, you guys met on the internet.
Oh, okay. I told you the love story is popular. Look, listen. Wait. I never got to that good grace. I'm sorry, honey. What's up?
No, he said Maurice. He meant to say Christian.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
I concluded that was like your middle name or something.
Okay. Wait, no, that is pretty good actually. So, so how did we meet? Yeah.
Where do we start? You have to include the prayer.
Girlfriend, I will. Okay, listen. This is good. So I was at a networking event where he was at, and I happened to be one of the speakers, and he needs to share what his reaction was, because for him it was love at first sight, but for me, I saw him from afar and I was like, he's kind of cute. And I was very upset because he didn't come up to me the entire time. And I was like, oh, forget this dude. Like, he's not interested. So mind you, like maybe 1 or 2 years later, I find him on Instagram, don't even know it's the same guy. And I end up DMing him, okay? Because, yeah. Wait. I promise it's clean. I was already with God at this time, okay? I promise it's clean. So you're like, oh, I wanted the real stuff. Yeah, so I DM him, and it was something really dumb, by the way. Like, I have very cheesy humor, but it happened to work with him, so I'm like, right on. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So, like, he literally goes on with my joke, and I'm like, bet. And literally from that conversation forward, it took us all the way to marriage. And so he didn't know that I was the same girl. And I didn't know he was the same guy. And so he starts kind of like piecing together, like, wait, where did you say you worked? And did you happen to be at this event? And so he pieced it together. We were that same people. Had we talked, I believe, at the time when we first saw each other, we would have ruined the whole thing. It wouldn't have been pure. It wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been any of that. We would have ruined it. Because at the time, I only dated black guys. So that's why I only zeroed in on him at the time. But since he didn't talk to me, I gave up on him. And so I was like, forget you. But on his side, I'm gonna have him share dude, your reaction is out of a movie, and you gotta tell it exactly how it happened.
I just want to know what that first message
What did it say?
what said.
So
What was the humor?
Okay, the DM was like a comment on a before and after picture. I didn't know this guy, by the way, but I just followed him because I'm like, oh, he's black and he has muscles. So I was like, check.
Romantic.
So romantic. I was like, he's black and he has muscles. I'm like, okay. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, it was a before and after picture. And brother wasn't looking good in the past, okay? He wasn't looking good in the past, but he's looking good now. So he had a before and after picture, and I said something like, hey, I would have gone after Norbit before, like something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? How do you know it's meant to be?
Because he used to have a fro, so it all, it kind of made sense. But I was trying to hype him up, like, hey, I think you looked cute back then too. So I was like, hey, I would have hit up like Norbit before, and he said something like, haha, and he kind of. And literally from then on, it was like,
Tell us your version.
okay, wait, can you just tell them, and you could bleep out the word that you originally said because you weren't saved back then. But come here, sweetheart. Get it over here. A round of applause. Yeah.
Yes, it's number 4.
Hi, sweetie cakes. Okay, sit on my lap right here. Okay, so.
So how did it happen?
No, like to the T, the way you really tell it, okay?
So I worked at Subaru selling cars for like 8 months, worst job ever, wouldn't recommend it. But the funny thing about working there is that I lived literally right behind the dealership in these apartments. So I wasn't planning on being there that day. There was an event going on. I forgot what it was for specifically, but I just left to my apartment. So I checked in, clocked in, and just went back to my apartment, snuck out, and I didn't want to go. As soon as I got back to my apartment, the manager of the dealership was like, hey, like, people are starting to show up, like, we're gonna have a meeting in the tower, which is like the office. So I'm like, all right. So I was just laying in bed, didn't want to go back, and finally they messaged again, like, hey, where's everybody at? Talking about me and a few other people. So I got up and literally walked around the corner back to the dealership. So they were still setting up everything in there. And then, and so I walked into the showroom floor where they're setting up. And then I happened to look up, and then I just see somebody in a pencil skirt with a black shirt. She had a nice butt. So that's what caught my attention. I was like, who is that?
No. Say it exactly, but bleep it out. Bleep it out.
Who the is that?
But like he said it to himself because he was like,
Yeah, so I was like, who is that? Because, it was all dudes there. Like, there wasn't no pretty girls there. So anytime like a cute girl would show up, all the guys were like, oh, who's that? So I was like staring at this girl, and then like, next thing you know, we go back into the office, and I come out, and I don't know where she's at. And the event goes on, and we're sitting in one of the offices, all the guys, and then I just hear a voice. I'm just sitting in the chair, don't want to pay attention. And I hear a voice, and I'm like, who's speaking? And I stand up, and it's her. So I'm like, oh, it's that one cute girl. And so I'm just playing eye tag with her. Like, I'm looking at her, she looks my way, I look away, and vice versa. And funny thing is, even Lawrence was at the event. We found that out afterwards. Lawrence.
So he, this is my new dad. So now, he got to know my dad before he knew me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I trained out of another gym, and he was training with another trainer there. And yeah, I met him. Like, it was just somebody you see at the gym every day that you say hi to. And then fast forward to when my wife and I started dating, she invited me over because she was with her parents at the time. She's like, hey, like, want to come over and hang out, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah. And like, oh, my parents are here. They pulled up. And then he walks in, and then she's like, oh, this is my stepdad. I'm like, I know this guy. Like, I met him before I even met you. So that was pretty cool. But back to the story. So at the dealership, the event passes by. And at the end, the general manager, she was like, because it's all about sales. Because she's like, oh, whenever there's people here, you need to give them your card, you need to sell. So there was a moment, my wife wasn't looking at me, but I was literally this proximity to her. And Barbara, the GM, was like, oh, give her your card. Like, you need to give everybody your card. And I like thought about it, and I was like, dang, she's not talking to anybody, but she was just looking at somewhere else. And I was like, nah, and I just left. So that was the last time I saw her, and then 2 years had passed by, and then that's when I made a meme of myself, which was the before and after, to where I had an ugly fro and some big glasses, looked like Norbit, and then to how I look now, and then just made a joke out of it, and then I forgot how you came across my profile. I think it was a mutual friend. But yeah, she commented, it was like, oh, I would have gone for Norbit back then, or you looked good before. And I was like, I know she's lying. I was like, I know she's lying, but I just laughed at it. But the interesting part was, to be completely honest, I didn't know it was a girl. I had a feeling it was a girl, but she didn't have any pictures of herself on her profile. It was just of her artwork. So I followed that profile because I genuinely liked the artwork. I was like, oh, this is cool. So she followed me for her reasons. I followed her for different reasons. And then, and so I just kept, she just kept like messaging me. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I like this. I was like, I hope it's a girl. But like, we just kept talking. And so what was it? It was the night that Lupita prayed for her.
Go ahead, Lupita.
We got together for, it was all God, because we got together for dinner that night with like a few of us girls, and she's like, oh, I just started talking to this guy, and I'm like, I like him, but I don't know, we haven't even like seen each other, like, I think you were in the video call, right? But
I was gonna video call him for the first time now.
Nervous about it, but she was like, oh. So one of my other friends with me, she's older, she's always like, well, let's pray, let's put hands on her, and let's pray that it's God that we're gonna, the Lord's gonna work everything out. So,
and she's like, do you want a boyfriend or a husband? I said, husband. And husband. And they're like, okay. So, yeah.
And then when I saw her the next time, she's like, yeah, like we're married. And I was like, what?
Actually, yeah. What, 3 months later?
Yeah, we dated for 3 months and then got
engaged and married at 5 months.
Yeah. What happened? Oh yeah, that night you all prayed with her, and then a big weight lifted off my shoulders because when the phone answered, it was you. I was like, thank God it's a woman. I still didn't know until that point, until we first FaceTime call, because she didn't know.
Ask for names or anything?
I don't even think I asked.
I don't know. How does he not know I'm a girl? I don't know.
But I was just like, it seems like a woman. Like, I don't want to ruin the conversation or throw off the mood. But when she answered the phone, I was like, thank God. It's a woman. But yeah, and yes, we moved fast whenever we got married.
But that wasn't the intention.
No, it wasn't the intention, because trust me, I've had plenty of toxic relationships or whatever you want to call it, to the point where, I knew exactly what I wanted, I knew what I prayed for, and I saw that immediately through her.
And this time, were you a believer when you met her?
Yes, yes.
For the second time?
Yes, I was.
I'm sorry, he's been at church since how old?
Oh, yeah.
Like most of my life, but I did backslide throughout those years. But by this time, I was for real.
Yeah. So I had made my decision on my end. God, I'm recommitting my life to you, and he recommitted his life, and that's when we got together. So, yeah, I think that was a big portion, a big factor.
And one thing I will say, which was kind of, I hate to say it, but kind of like a blessing in disguise, was the pandemic. Like the lockdown, because I was unemployed. No, you weren't working either at the time, I don't believe. So
studying maybe?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you were still in school. So she was studying and I was unemployed. So we just spent all day together every day. Cause I couldn't go to work.
Just talking?
Yeah, so she's like, hey, let's hang out. So I'll go over to her place. She'll come into mine and we'll go out to eat at the few places we could go. So really, she was the only person during the pandemic that I was really talking to. So that allowed me to get to know her a lot faster, I guess. And then December 19th is when I proposed after watching Hacksaw Ridge.
But he had no ring.
Yeah,
and we didn't plan that. He didn't even know he was going to propose when he did. But I could honestly say that we just we were kind of talking, we were at my mom's house actually on her couch watching that movie, and we were just talking, and then we just kind of paused, and I'm like, oh my God, it's about to happen. And I didn't verbalize that, but within me, I just, out of nowhere, I had a feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, it's about to happen. And then I kind of just like looked at him like something's about to happen. And I guess he caught the feeling too. And he was like, I don't even remember what you said. Like, do you want to marry me? I don't know.
You want to marry me?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. No, I was like, all right.
Wait. Literally, I think my parents were about to fall asleep. I go get a ring from my mom's like jewelry box, and it was my favorite ring. And so I sized it to, eventually she gave it to me, and I sized it to my ring, to my finger. But that's literally how I got my ring, because we started with nothing, you know? I literally, all that I had was in a box. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what, 2 months later? Yeah, we got married. So yeah, a total of 5 months.
And what was the exact date of your marriage?
Yeah, Valentine's Day. Just like I spoke. The previous year I was single. Yeah, the previous year I was single, and I declared, I said, by this time next year I'm gonna be married, and that's what
The
happened.
exact day.
The exact day, yeah.
The deadline was met.
Yeah. Love you, sweetie.
And now we have this little much.
Yes. Okay, y'all. Well, I want to celebrate with you. This has been a beautiful time. For those of you that were here yesterday, it was a beautiful time too. So we're going to take a toast together. We're going to enjoy some cake together. Go ahead and chat, and then we're going to move on to the second speaker. Okay? So you guys can go ahead, take